In the beginning, Kisimantu created Mother Earth, the core of Nēhiyawak, the origin of our identity as Nēhiyawak. She connects us with our past, with the present, and with the future. At the heart of the deep bond is the perception that all life is interconnected. We are not individualistic or independent from one another. We have been born into a social order that is based on sacred laws and teachings of responsibility to one another. Human beings are of the natural world and are related to all of creation.
Our ever-growing dependence on fossil fuel-based modes of production has played a considerable role in the growing concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This has changed the climate at a rate even faster than the most pessimistic of scientists warned us decades ago. As a result, global temperatures are increasing, the sea levels are rising, and precipitation patterns are changing, while storm surges, floods, droughts, and heat waves are becoming more frequent and severe. Subsequently, agricultural production is decreasing, fresh water is becoming more scarce, infectious diseases are on the rise, and local livelihoods are being degraded, and human well-being is diminishing. The impacts of climate change have already significantly impacted animals around the world, altering the timing of life cycles, causing species to shift where they live, and in some cases, leading to extinction. Indigenous populations are projected to face disproportionate impacts as a result of climate change in comparison to the non-Indigenous populations across Canada and the world. Because of this, Indigenous people around the world are calling for strong and immediate action to protect the resources on which we all rely. For generations, our community has relied on the empirical knowledge of our ancestors to determine where to hunt, trap, fish, where to pick berries and medicines. We relied on these experiences to understand how to provide for ourselves. We were taught that the land would provide for us. This knowledge was a way of life, always done in a manner that ensured that resources were sustained for the next generations. Respecting and embracing Indigenous knowledge as important science benefits all of us. In looking for solutions to fight climate change, it is critical to apply Indigenous knowledge. By integrating Indigenous knowledge with Western science, we can solve the challenges brought on by climate change. Empirical knowledge has sustained people and cultures and expands the range of approaches and information needed to solve many environmental problems. Indigenous people are truly the experts of their area and place, with a deep understanding of interconnectedness of nature and our role in conserving resources for future generations. Thanks to funding from Health Canada, we were able to reflect on the impacts of climate change and explore ways in which climate change could and will affect our health and our lands. Community discussions have focused on understanding what is climate change, how are we being impacted, how will we adapt and mitigate the effects of climate change, and also understanding the health threats climate change poses. In our community, changes to the environment and the land are minimal, yet we understand that that can change in an instant. In 2014, our lands were flooded. We were forced to react to the situation instead of respond to the situation because we were not prepared. Homes and roads were lost. People were forced to move. Trees died, and habitat for fish and animals were lost. By creating adaptive strategies, we are preparing our community for changes that we are unavoidably going to face. Strategies such as disaster preparation, land use planning, environmental conservation, increasing public awareness of climate change, investing in renewable energy, improved clinical care, eco-friendly practices, temperature warning systems, and cooling stations, we will significantly decrease the effects of climate change. Without vigorous adaptation and mitigation measures, climate change is projected to further accelerate vulnerabilities, place human health at risk, and impede sustainable development. We all know that reversing the course of climate change will not be easy, but the tools are in our hands if we apply them before it's too late.